Hey there viewers, welcome back to Groundhog's Garage. I'm getting ready to do another project on Frankenstein here, and so here's what I got going on today. This is the rear wheel quarter panel section here. A lack of section. I didn't cut this out, it was just rusted away. So on one of my frequent trips to eBay, can you see this? Some guy had these marked down, and I was like, well, what the heck, let's pop one of those things on there. So it literally, you can see where the rust is here. It's not rust, it's weight reduction, right? So I'm going to add some weight to it, and cut this thing in here. The amount of cutting I got to do is drastically reduced, and not like I'm ruining anything. Should make a huge improvement. So I already pulled the running board off, and now I'm just going to pop some of this trim off. It's still attached. It's so rusty under here, it's not attached to anything. And mark it off and start cutting. Okay, so I've pulled the trim off, and slid this thing back here. And what I'm going to do, it fits pretty nice, I'm going to scribe this right at the edge of this panel. And I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm going to get my cutoff wheel and start cutting that. And I got a pinch weld drill, and I'll start drilling out the pinch welds, and we'll start cutting that section out. And I won't cut it right to the line just yet. I'll cut it and I'll leave about a ½ an inch there, and then work my way back, because it's easy to remove, but it's not so easy to add. And the tighter the fit, the less skill I will need to weld it back together. That'll be good enough. Yep. So got my line here, I got a line here, and I'll get my cutoff wheel and start hacking at that, and I can probably make a cut right across there and trim all this off, and then I can start working on the pinch weld. He's out of there. That was pretty easy. Most of the time I'm just cutting through rust like a knife through butter. Try something a little different. I got a pinch weld drill bit, spot weld drill bit, but then I've seen some guys that get a little grinder and they just do it that way. So I think I'm going to try it that way for a couple times. If it goes pretty well, I'm just going to continue on. I'm sure there's a reason why they don't do that, and I guess I'll find out. There's one. There's two, and you got to grind it anyway, right? It works pretty easy, actually. So when you're doing that, it's kind of hard to explain, but as the wheel gets closer to the inside metal, you can see the circle of the spot weld because it changes color, and it's very easy to see where you're grinding then. Not bad. We got a little bit to do back here, because you can see I'm still not to my scribe line here. This is pretty close over here. I think there's a little bit behind here I gotta get, and let's see. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I think I can tack it up enough. Yeah, I mean, there's still some metal there. I think there's a lot of it falling out too. But yeah, I think I clean this up a little bit over here, and then I clean this up over here, and I might have to do some little bit of sand in here or so, but we're pretty close. Can start tacking that in. Alright, so if you look here, I've got that pretty tight. So a little couple tack welds, and then that would be a nice fit. Over here I gotta clean this up a little bit, and then I can move this up closer to where it needs to be there. I can clean this up and move this where it needs to be, and we should be pretty good, I hope. Okay, so now I'm going to drill some 1/4-inch holes so I can plug weld the panel in. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay, so we got her stitched in, and I'm not a welder, but that didn't turn out too bad. It sounded like I had the wire feed down a little too slow, and I'm just about out of gas too. I probably should go get some more. But the only problem I have is I got a gap here. It's going to be a little work filling that in, but I'll get it. But all in all, far better than what it looked like. So I wanted to give you an update and my huge failure here. So I got this thing burned in, and I didn't tack weld in the seams yet. Well, actually, I just put a couple tacks in there, but luckily I didn't weld it all the way in, because I've made a cardinal sin here. I just placed that pan in there, and I didn't check the lines of the door. So while I was all happy with myself about the way it was looking, I closed the door, and I've got this awful gap right here, and you can see where the bottom of the door is hitting it too. So I'm going to have to cut it off, and it looks like it's going to have to move to the left a little bit. And when I move it to the left, this side's going to come down, so I'm going to have a gap here. So it's not a big deal. I still got the piece I cut out, and I can cut a piece in here, and then it'll give me an opportunity just to do something about this here. I wasn't going to, but since I got to jockey it around a little bit, I'll cut this out and just make a piece of put a piece of sheet metal in there. And it's a little more work, but it's just metal and a hammer, dolly, and a welder, and we'll put that back together. So a lesson learned. I should have checked my lines. It's not going to be perfect anyway, but it could be a heck of a lot better. So I'm not going to bore you with the details of cutting this back out. Okay, I've got this repositioned, so now when I close the door, it's got a much nicer gap, and this will close up a little bit once I get the this piece welded in, and the gap along here is a lot nicer. So what I've got to do now, go find a piece that I cut off out of here, section it back in here, and then I'm going to cut this out, this mess, and put a piece of metal in there too. Okay, so I'm roughing in this piece here, just give you a quick look, and once I get it fit just a little bit better, I can start tacking that in, and then I'll cut this section out here, and we'll weld a new piece of metal in there. I got that piece sectioned in. I've got a kind of a gap here to fill. I burned through here because that metal is kind of thin up here. It's all rusty, but if I have to, put a little piece behind it and kind of weld it in there. But all in all, coming along. I ground down the boogers before you saw it, so don't be too impressed. I'm not done yet, but I wanted to give you an update on where I was, because this video is actually taking place over a couple days, and so I just got done stitching this together and got a lot of boogers there. Like I said, I'm no welder, but hey, once I grind that down, you won't be able to tell me from anybody else. So I'm gonna start doing that, and I'll keep checking in and showing you my progress. Okay, so after a little bit of grinding, you can see it's coming out pretty nice. Not too bad. There's a couple little holes I'll have to hit it again, but then there's one there. But all in all, we're coming along. I got the panel in, it's welded in, cleaned up the seams, got a little putty on them now, and we're sanding those down, and it's probably good as point as any to bring this up, but this is by no means a show truck. It never will be a show truck. It's 2001, so it's almost 20 years old. It's got 250,000 miles on it, and it's got some rust. So really, if you really wanted to do this right, I mean, it probably needs quarters, inner fender wells, rockers all the way down, inner, whatever you would call that, from the inside of the rockers. So this was never part of the deal with the truck. So this is just kind of a little something more that I decided to do. I guess what that I learned here is that this wasn't that hard, and if I was doing it over again, I'd just get the full rocker panel, because it really, I'm kind of shocked at how easy it was. So yeah, I goofed up with checking the fit and everything, but I would have totally avoided all that if I put the whole rocker on. Yeah, I'm just going to keep sanding here, and I will clean this up a little bit. Now this, I don't have to be real pretty here because there's that plastic cover that goes over here. It's like a sill cover, so I mean, it'll be alright, but it will hardly be show quality, like I said. So anyway, I'm going to keep sanding here, and I'll bring you back in a little bit. Well, there's the finished project. It's not perfect. The paint doesn't match. This truck's been painted before, and I could have done a little more finish work. You can see the little marks here and there, but like I said, this thing's pretty rusty. This was just kind of a spur of the moment repair. It was something to do on the truck, and if this was a better truck, I'd have definitely put a little more effort into it. But yeah, all in all, like I said, if I'd have done it over and it was a little nicer truck, I'd probably just do the whole thing, because it's what's left of it. But my guess is this thing will become somebody's LS swap project before too long. Although it runs fine, and you know, drivetrain's fine. So somebody could probably drive it another couple years if they wanted to. I'm going to call this one a wrap, and you can go ahead and beat me up in the comments what a butcher job that was. But like I said, the amount of effort goes into the amount of effort is reflective of the type of truck it is, I guess. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I made a couple mistakes. Hopefully you learn from what I did. You know, again, I've never really replaced a patch panel before. I've welded in little patches and things like that. But yeah, rookie mistake, not checking the fit around the door. Get out of here. Had a B. So hopefully, like I said, don't beat me up too bad. So hopefully subscribe to the channel. I got 1 or 2 more projects, and then no matter what, I'm done with this truck. And you can catch up on those. And subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends. Have a good laugh, and have a great day. Thanks.